Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Leverage Your Podcast show. And I have with me today Peter Lisoskie, and he is the author of Be Relatable and founder and creator of Relatable, which we'll be getting into. But it's this really cool software that turns video into interactive relationship building experiences. And what I love about it is that it's looking at marketing in a whole different way. And so we're going to dive into it and educate you on that. And then, of course, I want Peter to share what Relatable is because I've never seen anything like it. So, welcome to the show, Peter.
Thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate being here. I'm always grateful to be on different shows and talk about the shifts in online behavior, what's happened and what's coming.
I know. And so we're kind of trained right now to like attract your clients, grab attention, and generate leads.
Right.
Why is that not working anymore?
Well, it's not working. See, we've had this mantra for a long, long time, even since when the internet was born back in what, 93 or something like that, when it became commercially available. All of us people that pre-existed before that time, what did we do? We did radio and TV ads and all that
Mm,
stuff. So we said, well, hey, we created this thing. We'll take this model and plop it right on the internet, right? Well, what's happened recently, Lindsay, is that um, while the attention economy and lead generation, I talk about the definition of lead generation is I invite you into my sales process and persuade you to buy. That's lead
yeah.
generation. The thing about that is, all of the tech, whether it's sales funnels, email marketing, even, automated cold calling, all that stuff, businesses are still doing that, yet their customers went that way. And they shift in online behavior. I go back to, I'm big on these socioeconomic, these mega shifts, right? If you look at, there's a group out there called the Native Digitals, which some of your listeners may have heard or may not have heard. If you haven't, you should know about them. Look them up. You can Google them. Native Digitals are typically 35 and younger. They are 51% of the global population and growing. Native Digitals 5 to 7 years ago were where? They were on Twitch and Discord creating communities. Now look at today, what's going on with communities. They're popping up like weeds. It was driven by the Native Digitals. And so I talked to, I think, 111 or 112 founders last
Mm,
year. And what's interesting, what I heard is, and this wasn't public, these were just like, hey, I'm rapping with these guys, CEOs, founders, different things like that. And almost every single one of them said, you know what? My SDRs are starting to panic. My BDRs, it's not working. My leads are down. The quality's down. The revenue's starting to dip, and I'm starting to panic. What do I do? And it's because of this shift. So I'll go through just quickly. I'll go through
yeah.
these six shifts because it's important, you guys, as I know your listener base is podcasters, but if you really want to understand how your audience ticks and growing your audience, and we're going to talk about how you can now be interactive with your audience and get feedback from them with Relatable. But these customer shifts apply to everybody. I don't care if you're in B2B tech, you're in nonprofits, you're in podcasting, you're in small business. It's the same because think about it, right? We all have these things called phones and we're all online all the time, right? So the digital presence is paramount. It is king or queen. So the first shift, just going through it, I'll just list them. We don't have to talk about them a long time because a lot of them, five of the six are self-evident. There's one I'm going to spend a little more time on because we're going through it now, and you
Okay.
guys are going to, if you haven't seen it, you're going to see it here real soon. The first one is, Lindsay, if you are looking to purchase a product or service, what do? You go online and do research. No one that I know of ever thinks in their head the first thing is, "Hey, I'll pick up the phone and call a salesperson."
Oh,
We don't do it. And in fact, what's interesting, Gartner did a study last year, Lindsay. This is in the B2B realm. 75% of all B2B people never want to talk to a salesperson, ever. They want to do self-service, kiosk. This is even for enterprise sales. So This is a shift that's happened. It's like it's a wake up call for everybody. It's also true for B2C as well. Um, Other thing, HubSpot did a study last year. 70% of all consumers, I don't care your listener base out there, if you're a podcaster, 70% of all consumers, they don't care as much about your brand, your company, your show. They want to see you, video, interactive experience on video with that podcaster, that founder, that CEO. This is why these, I think you look at podcasting and live streaming, why live streaming is becoming so popular because of what we're doing here. They
Yeah.
can see you, they can hear you. It's not just, audio is fine. When you're driving a car, you don't want to be watching a video, but this is why live streaming is becoming so popular because people want to see, they want to be in that experience, right? So that's first. Second is people want to choose their own experience. They want to choose their own adventure. This ties in with the third one, which is people want to have things that are personal and relevant to them. This is why I will say, unless you are Joe Rogan or you're the Midas Touch, you're not a unicorn in podcasting. So people are not looking for your show. They're looking for the content of your show. What is the content that you're delivering? What is that personal and relevant to them, right? So that's the second, third. The fourth one is, which we're experiencing right now, is everyone is watching or listening these days. Reading is not happening a lot. In fact, the native digitals, they invented an acronym, TLDR. You probably all heard it. Too long didn't read, because we are a watching and listening population globally now. And so this is why video is so important. I still think podcasting in audio format, like I said, driving a car, riding a bike, running, I can't sit there and look at my phone because I'm going to crash the car, but I can listen, just like audiobooks, right?
It's accessible.
Yeah, it's accessible to anytime, anywhere. The next one after that is, so the fifth one is, and this one is an interesting one because this one is happening now. Those four, been there, done that, your customer shifted. So you have to now match those buying behaviors. But this fifth one is interesting because we're going through it right now. You mentioned it right at the beginning of the show. People are looking not for monologue marketing, they're looking for dialogue marketing. What I mean by that, the days of email marketing, the days of talking head passive videos, they're going to die. Right now, they're being juiced by algorithms on LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube. But I tell people, because I've been through this so many times with tech innovations and megatrends, we are kind of like in the 8-track tape of the music industry of monologue. And there's more and more shift of people saying, I want to have dialogue. I want to have conversations. I want to interact. I want to engage. The most important thing people want, Lindsay, people want to feel seen and heard. Okay? If you look at what's happening with social media, there's a whole disconnect with feeling seen and heard. And sometimes feeling seen and heard can be very negative on social media too. So this ability to feel seen and heard from your particular viewpoint, your standpoint, your interaction, they're demanding that more and more. And there's, guys, you can go Google it. There's several studies out there. And I can, if we have time, I can tell stories of how people are using Relatable and are getting results with this interactivity. So the last one, real quick, is this goes back to the days of, back when we didn't have a lot of technology. Businesses ran on referrals, right? You'd go to BNI, you'd do networking, you'd hand out your card, you'd get referrals. That worked back then. It works still now, but more everybody's online digitally, right? Yeah. So there's this thing, I don't know if you ever heard of it, it's called dark social. Does that ever rung a bell with you?
I've heard of it, but I've never really delved into it.
Okay, so dark social, it's not dark web, it's nothing, underworld. Dark social, there's a lot of studies that have come out now that up to 80% of all product and service recommendations are done through private messaging. Your SMS, WhatsApp, email, communities, Discord, all these places, people are sharing product and service recommendations with others. So we built that into Relatable. where you can say, if you watch video content, you have friends or colleagues. And the old adage, right? Like attracts like. There's typically, like in business, you have colleagues that do similar things that you do. So it would be, you would send out I'd send out a message going, hey, Lindsay, we'd love to have you share this video series about how we created interactive building audiences, podcasters. This is something I know you probably have friends and colleagues that do podcasts. All you got to do is tap on this upcoming button, and you can share it through text, through email, through WhatsApp. So you're in the US, so you do text, right? So you do a little custom message, the link comes through. That could be a link to a video series about what we do and how we do it that you learned, right? But here's the important thing, right? They're getting that text from you. They know you. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to tap on that link. If you got something from somebody you didn't know with a link, you're going, not touching it. That's spam, right? But this changes the dynamic of how do you, and the powerful thing about that, Lindsay, is that when you're going from your phone plan to their phone plan, if I'm the business owner, it costs me zero to grow my audience. It's free.
Yeah.
Because I can share that through others. Obviously, content has to be good. You have to feel like, this is something worth sharing. But we have those situations, and people are doing it every day in a big way. So that's the six. That's the shifts. And really what happened, this overall umbrella, if you take those six behavioral shifts, we have now gone from the attention economy and lead gen, which is dying, over to the relationship economy and creating demand, or demand gen, which is I am invited into the buyer's process when they are ready to buy. The buyer wants to have control now, not be sold to.
Yeah, and it feels like it's one way, like as marketers we're, giving information and, like you said, the monologue, but to have that back and forth and to relate to someone on an individual level.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all want to connect with each other on a human level and be treated as such.
Yeah.
So when it comes to video, explain to me what relatable is and how we can use it, like the scenarios of what we would use it for.
Okay, sure. So I'll give you a good example. Let's just talk about, you and I are here, right? We're talking whether you guys do Zoom, Teams, Google Meet, doesn't matter, right? What's nice is now we have the ability to talk to people anywhere in the world, anytime, through video, right? So it's much better than talking on the phone because we can see each other, you can see my body language, running around with my hands and all that kind of stuff. The thing that when I was looking at that going, okay, well, if you think about relationships, let's talk about human beings here. So how do we develop relationships? Well, we have awareness of somebody, then we connect, and then we engage. That's where all social stops. You can't really go beyond engagement and social. You've got to go off the social platform to continue. But humans develop relationships. They nurture. They then develop trust. They generate respect. And then at the final, if it's like you and I, it's affinity. If it's with your significant other, it's intimacy. I mean, I know that's a simplistic view, but that's kind of how we develop relationships, right? So when I looked at this, I said, well, for Relatable, how can I help people to develop and accelerate trust? There's a metric we just coined, and I'm working out the details of how to measure that, and we're going to put it inside Relatable. It's called relationship velocity. Ooh. So what you want to understand is, like, how can I increase the velocity of developing these relationships? Because if I could build trust and develop relationships and accelerate that, and I can do it at scale, I can grow my business, right? Because, it's kind of the old adage of people do business with people they like, know, and trust. And that's kind of, I always tell people, I don't think golf would exist right now if it wasn't for that phrase, right? Because that's where a lot of business is done, is on the golf course. Right. I don't golf, but I know a lot of people that do. Anyway, going back to this, so when I thought about all that, I thought, okay, this is great. In person's the best, but you and I live different parts of the country. I have to fly there. Yeah. Sit down and have a cup of coffee. It takes time, takes money. I can't scale that. even this, it's you and me. Or even if I have a Zoom chat with 1,000 people, well, that's good. That's still not scalable, right? So I task myself as a founder and our dev team, our small dev team, how can we create something like having a coffee chat with 100,000 people at a time or more? But here's the trick, or the power of this. In that coffee chat, it's feeling like I am having a dialogue with them one on one, right? And that was the foundation of how Relatable got built. Now, let's talk to podcasters, right? So we have this tool called Relatable. It can do what I call, it's a new category software called interactive video relationships. That's part of what we've innovated. So for podcasters, think about this, right? You guys want to build your audience. You want to attract people that are interested in your content. Whether you do a live stream or an audio podcast, it does not matter. So imagine having, because video is so important, first of all, you have a Relatable and you are out sending those out socially and attracting people into your show, okay? And in that Relatable, you're attracting them, but here's what you're doing. You could say, hey, because I know you might possibly be interested in the content that I offer. You know, it's like, here's the best of my show. Choose this, or this. And these are little clips. They could be video or audio clips, depending on the kind of show the podcaster has. But it lets that person who's wanting to experience that particular show to listen to the content and go, yep, that's a match. I like what this person has to say. So then after they pick the one, because again, that's choose your own experience, they get to choose the one they're most interested in. You could have them come back and choose another one, or you could say, look, if this resonated with you and you'd like to hear more content, plus I'd like to hear what you would like to have for content on the show, because we do kind of an interactive self-guided show from our audience and our listeners. Go ahead and tap on this upcoming button and you can add my show to your calendar. So they tap on it and you can add it to Google or Apple Calendar. Here's the cool part though, with Relatable. So they're going to forget about your show, right? Because out of sight, out of mind. I mean, you know, again, if you're Joe Rogan, maybe not, but most people, it's like, you got a show, but they're not thinking about Lindsay Phillips' show every day of the week. They're doing their own thing. But here's what's cool, Lindsay. You put that on their calendar, and let's say you do, every 2 weeks, you do a show. And so 2 weeks from now, that's on their calendar. They get a push notification on their iPhone or their Android phone. They tap on that notification. There's a custom message from you and there's a link. And in that message, you say, hey, I've got something really important to share with you about the show. Tap on this. Boom, another Relatable pops up. And now you're talking to them again from the reminder and saying, hey, for this particular show, here's some highlights. You may even want to have a guest clip. You could put that in Relatable. So it gives a little highlight of what's going to happen. Here's the content we're going to be covering. And the show's coming up here and they can go listen to it. Okay. Now, you can also send out another Relatable that says, if you don't have their email, you can say, this is the show we have. Here's the content. Here's what we cover. I've got 5 shortened versions of the best of our content, and you can make it gated. You could say, just go ahead and enter your email, and you can listen to any or all of those content pieces. Now you have them on your list. Okay? Kind of like a lead magnet, but it's more in this video format. Now, here's why, as a podcaster or live streamer, you want to do that. Because then you're going to go back and you're going to send out a Relatable with you talking, saying, hey, I know you listened to my show. We just covered this in the content. Did you listen to that? Yes or no? If they say no, then you go, have you listened to our show before? If they say yes, you take them on another path. And you say, what is it that you liked most about that content of that show? What is it you liked least? And then you ask them this key question, this powerful question. What other content would you like to have me cover in my show? And I will go find a guest so that we cover that. Now you're creating an interactive audio experience. They have
conversation,
a voice, right? They feel seen and heard, and they're going to be more loyal to your show because they're getting to help in guiding the content. Okay. Now, by the way, if you want to, in Relatable, all those answers, you can pick and see all the answers, see the commonality. And if you want to text, email, or WhatsApp any individual person, you can do it right inside Relatable.
Cool. So let me kind of recap just so I'm understanding it right and the audience is understanding right. So is obviously you create little video clips. And so the video clips, they have like buttons within it that they can make choices, and so it's not like a link outside of the video, it's a link within
Exactly.
the
Everything
video?
is in, it's
Okay.
all in screen experience. Yeah.
And then so basically you are creating automations based on the answers. So when they choose this, they're going to get this new video. And then it's just going to be like this conversation back and forth. Is that right?
That's correct. It's
Okay.
based, so the relationship piece for podcasters is you can even base their answers or in-screen actions, which could be touching a hotspot, clicking a button, whatever. You can send them other content that's personal and relevant to their answers and actions.
Exactly.
So think about it. If you had 50,000 listeners to your show, each of them are getting different variations depending on what you set up at the back. Sure, you can segment it. So you say, well, I have 6 most common. And if they
Yeah,
answer this way, I'm going to send them that segmented, right? So it's not like on the fly, totally customizable, because that
totally.
would mean you'd have to be, in video here all the
Yeah.
time. You don't have time. But you can do that. And that's really what they feel like, wow, okay, this is what I was interested in. Lindsay responded back with other video or other shows that are related to that content. I feel seen in her, right?
Yeah.
This is what builds the loyalty. And you're right. There is no longer any of this go outside, go to a link. It's all in screen. In fact, you can create one relatable as a podcaster that talks about your show, gives the highlights, all this stuff. You can embed that right in the top of your website. So they tap on it and boom, up pops you. You're talking to them. You're talking about your show. You're talking about why you created it. You're giving them highlights. You're letting them know, hey, if you liked it, you can go put it on your calendar. That can all sit on your website too, or a chatbot, or a sales funnel.
Yeah.
But you're creating these interactive experiences, whatever tools that you use. Most podcasters have websites or they have, landing pages. You can put it embedded right in there.
So that was my next question is obviously you create the video within Relatable in the back end.
Mm-hmm.
So where like is it a link that you share? Do you share it on social, in DMs? Is it usually text? What are the, I guess, platforms that it's being used in?
That's actually a great question. So you basically can share it anywhere. So when you
Okay.
inside Relatable, you can share it. Well, let's talk about link first. You can copy the link, you can paste the link anywhere. You can get the embed code. You can put the embed code in your website. The other thing, if you happen to speak or an author, you can take the QR. I do this right now when I keynote speak. I put the QR code at the back
Yeah.
on the screen. I have 500,000 people go, hey, if you want to have a relationship with me and continue the relationship, go ahead and pull out your phone, scan the code. Guess what? Boom, I pop up. I'm relatable. I can do a whole mini training where I say, okay, if you'd like to learn, tell me about your business. Okay. If you want to learn more about this specifically for your business, put your email in. I've got a specific training. So all speakers, all authors, you can build audiences off Amazon or from the stage to stage. Now, going to social, right inside Relatable. Once you finish your Relatable, you can tap on LinkedIn, Facebook, uh, X, Blue Sky, Reddit. And if it's LinkedIn, you tap on it, the LinkedIn window pops up through the API. You write your post, the Relatable's right there. And I tell people you can do custom thumbnails or GIFs. But if you do a custom thumbnail, it'll be a picture of you, Lindsay, on there. Just says tap here. You could have a little headline. It goes right on LinkedIn. They tap. There's no, hey, there's a link. You're leaving LinkedIn. Your
Right.
Relatable pops right open. So in LinkedIn's world, they still think you're in there. So you're not getting impression penalties, but
Yeah.
you went offline. You have to go offline if you want to get beyond engagement. And now they're in your relatable world.
That's an important point because the algorithms with social, they do ding you.
Mm-hmm.
And it
A
impacts your
lot.
reach, and so forth. And just for you want to lower as many barriers to entry as you can when it comes to, attracting and having your prospects take that next step.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I,
that's the whole idea is I tell people that our mantra, we're device independent, we're a web app, but it's primarily for the phone. And if we have time, we can talk about the other innovation called video impact experiences and how a podcaster would use that. But I tell people, look, all you need is your phone, your face, phone, and finger. You can do it anytime, anywhere. You can share anytime, anywhere.
yeah.
They could be doing a relatable somewhere on location somewhere. They put it together, they hit share, it goes out to social. They're doing it right there. You don't have to come back to your studio. You don't need a video editor. You don't need video production. I tell people, look, relatables for the rest of us. It is the power of the phone in your pocket, creating these interactive video experiences or these video impact experiences, but you can do them yourself.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I'm assuming then too in the back end there are statistics you can see how many people watch, click. What kind of stats do you usually look for?
Yeah, another great question, Lindsay. So we have two types. Okay. So there's analytics, that's type one for people that you're not necessarily asking to opt in yet. Because in the world of relationship economy and demand gen, you got to remember, and we all know this, right? You've been on LinkedIn, you've done things social media wise. People's BS meter is at an all time
Yeah.
high. They're like, you're trying to sell me something. I'm
They're
gone.
skeptical.
Yeah, I get that. I even get that in DMs, and I go, I'm not trying to sell you anything. If you
I
want to get on a
know.
chat, they go, I think you're trying to sell me something. I go, okay, that's fine, but I'm not. It's just the marketers of the past has created these customers of the present. We are skeptical. We have been bombarded by phone calls we don't want, by emails we don't want. Our inboxes are destroyed. We know when we're going to go into a funnel where upsell, cross sell, downsell, whatever sell you're going to do. I mean, it's ridiculous what's happening. And so people are going, enough, right? If you look at the behavior of people, they went from ignore to annoy to now angry. And this is why, I mean, even in DMs and LinkedIn, you know the drill. First of all, people either they connect and then they pitch slap you. Well, I block those people. Or the other ones that are a little more sneaky, they go in, how you doing? Or they ask you a question, you go, I'm getting sold, right? This is just the way we are. We're so skeptical because, people, unfortunately, their first thought is to sell. And when your first thought is to sell, you're creating a transaction, not a relationship, right? You will have no loyalty in a transaction. People will shop you. People will shop your podcast. You have to build that relationship, that trust, that loyalty. So going back to analytics, if you don't have an email, that's fine. You can see everybody that came in, how many views on any given relatable. You can see how far they went through, where they dropped off. You can see how many people a day went through it. You can see the device they were on, the country they were in, the city they were in. You have all kinds of analytics like Google Analytics, but it's basically at a glance because I want people to be able to go into analytics and say, if they're in a coffee shop, in the airport, in the taxi cab, in their hotel room, just look and go, okay, I see all this one's doing. Yeah, okay, maybe that's not doing. They're dropping off here, so I got to change that question, right? So that's analytics. But then the other one is app data. When you get an email or phone number, you have everybody that comes in, you will see their name, you will see their email, you will see how they answered every single interactive. You'll be able to take a look at any one person. You have a whole dossier on them and
Yeah.
see what is personal and relevant to them. And by the way, then you can do, if it's here's the thing. Sometimes, like I'll give you the example. I go out and I want to connect with people on LinkedIn that are big. Like I'll give it just 2 weeks ago. I did this. There's a guy that I connected with. He has 538,000 followers on LinkedIn. One of the bigger ones. There's way more. I've had people 3 million, 5 million that I talk to now for partnerships. But this is what I do. I'll go out. I'll find the people that I think might be a good connection for what we're doing, and I will comment. I don't, maybe a week, but they're thoughtful comments. And then what I'll do is I'll turn the teleprompter on, and I will send them a personal relatable video. and just say, "Hey, Lindsay, I'm following you on LinkedIn. I love what you're doing, the impact you're making, the comments. You've noticed that I've commented, you commented back. We're trying to do the same thing here at Relatable. This is the impact we're trying to make. Here's what Relatable is and does. If that resonates with you and you'd like to just have a chat with me, I'm not trying to sell you anything. There's going to be an upcoming button. Okay. I do that. I get about an 80% conversion to set meeting
Oh,
with
wow.
Relatable. And I'm getting it with these big name people. And here's why. Because that personalized approach with video, it cuts through the sea of noise. And people go,
100%.
wow, that person took the time to send me a personal one, and it was easy, almost frictionless. I just tapped them, and I was on their meeting. So right now, I'm talking to this guy. This guy has over 500,000 followers. He owns 12 businesses, 6 exits, one's worth $1 billion, and he's very interested and wants to do some kind of partnership with me. That all came from that simple sequence.
Yeah.
And I've done this before. So this is something, if you look at like, okay, well, I'm a podcaster. How would I apply that? You want to get a big name guest for your show? That's what you would do. Because, here's the thing. These people get hit up all the time. Well, how do they get hit up? Think of status quo. Status quo does this. Type,
Exactly.
DM. They go, noise. You send them a personal video through Relatable, they're going, wait a second. That's really interesting. You're the only person
And you
that's
can
ever,
get a feel for the person, like
and
their
you feel for it.
energy,
Yeah.
their authenticity, or you just get a feel and a read for people.
Well, and Lindsay, that's exactly why we called the product Relatable. That's why I wrote the book, Be Relatable, the Eye-Opening Habit for a New Category of Human. The category of human is the people who are saying, I embrace the relationship economy. I understand how customer behavior is. I want to reconnect with my relatability. I want to be transparent. I want to be authentic. I want to show empathy and caring. I want to share my founder's story. This is what people are craving now. They want real. This is why, like I said with the HubSpot thing, people want to see videos from CEOs, even in Fortune 2000, 5000.
Yeah.
They want to interact with that head person, the podcast show host, the CEO, the founder. They want that kind of, like, they feel part of that experience. Yeah. That's the power of this.
Absolutely. There's people behind a business. People want to know the other person and what their goals are, what their missions are, their personality, and yeah, get a feel if you relate to them.
Yeah, it's all about relatability.
Yeah.
Right? You've been in business for a while. People will buy. There's another study, Rain Group. Rain Group. They did a study last year. 84%. This is for B2B, but in B2B, 84% of B2B buyers will buy based on a relationship, even if the competitor has a better price or sales.
Yes.
84%. So if you don't
Absolutely.
think relationships are important, you might want to rethink that because, and again, it goes back to that old phrase, right? I add to the phrase of people do business with people they like and trust. People share businesses with people they like, know, and trust.
That is true.
It's about, and especially now, when we could talk about that for another hour, but with AI and AI personalization and AI twins, I'm not against that. We've shifted from this sales funnel over to this customer funnel, not buyer's funnel, customer, because it has to be the entire journey. But here's what happens with customers. Visually, they come in, they don't go right down the customer funnel. They do this. Right there.
Yes.
And it's about touch points. It's about their looping in there. They're going through a whole bunch of touch points to figure out, first of all, what is this product or service about? Can it really solve my problems? But they're also looking for, can I build trust in a relationship with this company? Right? If you don't think that's true, look at Nike, look at Patagonia, look at any of these companies that they didn't just build great products. It's not about the brand, guys. If you're thinking, oh, they have a brand, it's not about the brand. It's about the community.
Yeah.
Patagonia would not survive if it wasn't for their community. Nike, Just Do It, the community of people on the app all exercising together, globally on the app, that's what makes it. I'll tell you one where that community is dying, it's Starbucks. Starbucks used to be one cup, one neighborhood, one relationship at a time. They have the cafes. What are they doing? They're going through drive-throughs. They are gutting their community. And I'm telling you, they're going to fail because what they used to stand for, they don't stand for anymore because it's more profitable to do drive-throughs.
Yep.
They're not just losing their brand, they are losing their community.
Ah, yeah, valuable.
Mhm.
Now, before we end, I want to make sure people know how to go to Relatable, how to check it out. I know you've got some like demo videos and stuff on there as well, so they can picture what it looks like
Yeah.
and how they can sign up.
Well, the what you can do is you can go to our website. Well, first of all, if you're on LinkedIn, just look up Pete Lisoskie or Peter Lisoskie, and you can. I'd love to have you connect with me there. I talk about all this stuff in my content. If you want to follow, if you want to engage, I always am grateful for people that that want to come in and comment. I have, as part of what I do, I always express my unique point of view, and I always express my change of perspective. Some people agree and some people disagree with me, but that's okay. If you are not polarizing in your podcast show, then you should be, because this is what attracts your tribe, right? That's one way. Or they can go to our website. It's home.relatable.pro. And you guys can check out, I've got some videos up there. We have a free trial if you want to, check it out and try it. I will tell you, here's the other thing too. I believe in this very strongly because I'm a SaaS founder, and there's hundreds of thousands of SaaS. There's hundreds of thousands of podcasts. There's hundreds of thousands of consultants, coaches, right? So how do you stand out?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things we do, because we're growing, we just launched, I'm working towards the first couple hundred customers. So I work with people individually or in groups. I don't charge for it. I just want you guys to get on and to try Relatable and reconnect with your relatability and be part of the impact and movement of the relationship economy. Guys, I can tell you, we use these for emails. Customers use it for emails. We're getting over 60% open rates and 14 to 18 times click-through rate.
Oh,
People that are using Relatable in the DMs from cold DMs are getting 60 to 70% responses to set meetings. We just talked about that. People that are getting 200 to 400% more engagement time on their interactives or relatables on website. We have the numbers with our small group of customers. You will get results because this is about H to H, human to human connection. This is what people are craving, and I'm guaranteeing, you can come back if I'm wrong and throw it back in my face. The year of 2025 with this AI personalization, the AI twins, there's going to be even more of a craving and demand from your customers for this H to H human interaction. Use AI up at the top. Don't use it down the funnel when they're considering it. It's got to be you. It's got to be the face of you. It's got to be the video of you. It has got to be the interaction of you.
agreed. Well said. Thank you so much for being on the show. And I hope it really makes people pivot and rethink about how they're communicating with others, how they're just being the face of their business and getting out there, making more connections. And it is shifting, absolutely. And so for you to create a tool that makes it easier, yeah, I think it's just super cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Lindsay. It's I think its time has come, and it's not, guys. I tell people all the time, it's like, yeah, Relatable is a cool tool, but Relatable is just the tool. Can it
Yeah.
get results? Yes. The point I'm trying to stress here, guys, is it's about you. It's about
Yeah.
how are you relatable to your listener base, your
Yes.
customer base, your patient base, your client base, whatever you call them. People are craving that now with all the disconnection in the digital space that we have. More and more. This is why you're seeing communities, there's good ones and bad ones, but they're just craving that, wanting to be together, stop the device,
Yeah.
be with each other in a human fashion.
Agreed. Yes. It's a better way to be anyways.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure. Plus, it makes you happier. It's more fun.
It is, absolutely. And that's part of the reason why I love podcasting so much is engaging with other people and having the
Yeah,
conversations and being face to face. So thank you for being such an amazing guest this week on the Leverage Your Podcast show.
you're welcome. Thank you for having me, Lindsay. Appreciate it.
All right. So we'll see you folks on another episode of Leverage Your Podcast Show. Make it a great week.